Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for our first virtual news conference. We want y'all to know we take this very, very serious, and we have listened to the concerns of many concerned citizens, and will now bring you, moving forward, the developments of COVID-19 in our community. We want to bring it to you while we ourselves practice very responsible social distancing. So we'll get started with our speakers tonight, and afterwards we will allow the media to ask questions one at a time. But first, we're going to start with Director of Public Health, Catherine Wells.
Good evening, everyone. Today we have updated our case numbers once again for coronavirus. We currently have 10 new cases that were reported to us this Sunday. And again, we have identified multiple staff who worked in our local nursing homes while symptomatic. I understand that these staff are critical to the functioning of our nursing homes, but we can't have people working and exposing our most vulnerable population. Some of these individuals we have spoken to through our contact and investigations have very mild symptoms. So I really want the community to understand that some people have can have very severe symptoms, but then we also have another group that has very mild symptoms. And the concern with that is that those people might feel like, oh, they're good enough to go hang out with their friends or go to work or be out in the community, but they are able to spread the virus to others. And we really don't want them at work or definitely not being in touch with these different at-risk individuals, especially those in the nursing home. And we really need everybody to heed that warning to stay at home. This weekend, we've taken some very significant steps to reduce further spread of the virus in our community. And this was done along with the support of the Department of State Health Services and the Texas Health and Human Services Commission. We've inspected multiple facilities to ensure compliance with infection control practices. So this means we want to make sure that those frontline healthcare workers have the appropriate personal protective equipment, that they're following all of the guidelines associated with hand washing, changing out equipment as they're moving from patient to patient. And we've also been working with these different facilities to support their needs, such as us supplying additional protective equipment. And then also with the support of UMC nursing staff this weekend, we have tested more than 75 nursing home residents and staff. So a combination of staff and nursing home residents were tested this weekend. We're still pending those results, and that was 75 individuals. Over the weekend, the city has also issued official quarantine orders to 4 different facilities. These orders restrict patient movement except when they need medical care. They also restrict staff from moonlighting or working in other healthcare facilities. And we also are restricting staff from going anywhere else other than home and work. And this is being done to keep the virus from spreading to other facilities. These orders were placed at Whisperwood Nursing Home and Rehabilitation Center, Heritage Oaks Nursing and Rehabilitation Center, Southern Specialty, and Lakeside Rehabilitation Center. In addition to the work with these 4 specific nursing homes, we have also issued a public health notice for all nursing facilities. The notice strengthens the federal guidelines that have already been in place at licensed nursing facilities, and we posted posters on the front doors of every facility in Lubbock. And the posters include continuing some of the restrictions, such as no visitors, except with the exception of end-of-life situations, not allowing any volunteers to enter the facilities, and that includes your barbers, hairstylists, nail technicians. We're also requiring that all essential staff and healthcare personnel, when entering the facility, be screened for respiratory symptoms and fever prior to entering. And we're also taking this guidance a step further, and we're not allowing anybody who has had symptoms or fever within the last 72 hours to enter a facility. And this is being done to better protect those individuals. We're also restricting all staff from moonlighting or working in another long-term facility. And then we're also requiring all of our visiting providers, such as the nurse practitioners, lab techs, respiratory therapists, hospice, to all wear full protective gear when they enter these nursing homes. And then the second thing that we've worked on this weekend is we are also releasing a public health directive for retail establishments. And this directive is giving guidance to our retail establishments on what we expect from the city for them to be putting in place in their stores to ensure that social distancing and other infection control measures are taken. And such things that we're requiring is preparing their store, providing hand cleanser, hand sanitizer for customers, employees. We want to see signage explaining social distancing. We're also wanting facilities to make sure that people are practicing social distancing and they're screening employees. We're also wanting facilities to clean the store, regular cleaning of countertops, credit card terminals, door handles and such. We know a lot of this has already been in place in many of our facilities. We just want to provide this guidance so that we can see all of this happening across the city. I'll go ahead and turn this over to Dr. Cook.
Thank you, Catherine. I appreciate those comments. Tonight, we're certainly physically separated. I can see everybody on the screen, but certainly socially connected as well. I think that's good. We're kind of trying to practice what we're preaching, and so this is good for everybody. So just in 3 days, our numbers have gone from 19 to 49 here in Lubbock. And of those numbers, many of those are asymptomatic. We swabbed many of the employees there in residents of those nursing homes. And we see asymptomatic carriers. In other words, you don't have any symptoms or you have very mild symptoms, but you're carrying the virus. Those are the ones that scare us the most. Those are the ones that make us the most nervous because you don't feel bad. You're out in the community giving it to somebody else. And if you knew that, you wouldn't want to, but because you're asymptomatic, you're giving that virus out. That's what this whole purpose of social distancing is. You don't even know that you could give it to somebody else. And I surely don't know anybody that would purposely want to give an infection to somebody else. So by social distancing, it keeps our asymptomatic carriers down. Now, I wish we had so many test kits that we could test everybody and find those pockets of disease, but we don't have those. We're not able to do that yet. Hopefully in the next few weeks, we'll be able to do that. One of the other things that I want you to be aware of, just more than a month ago, on February 21st, New York had its first case of a COVID infection. Just over a month ago. And today I heard they had 2,100 deaths in that state in a little over a month. We don't want to go there. Those of us in West Texas, nobody wants to go there. So we must do our social distancing because of the infected and because of the asymptomatic carriers as well. We need to socially distance each other. So back to washing our hands all the time, staying away from others that are just staying away from everybody because we don't know who's carrying the virus. And if you don't need to be out, don't get out. And if you're taking care of a vulnerable population, those are the individuals with diabetes, heart disease, lung disease, those individuals who have compromised immune systems, either genetically or because of chemotherapy, or because they're in the aged patient population or more mature patient population. make sure if you are taking care of one of those individuals, please remove them from public. And nobody needs to visit them at this time. It needs to have 1 or 2 caregivers at the most that takes care of them. We certainly know that immunocompromised and those vulnerable patient populations are going to do less well than those that are otherwise healthy. A couple more things. I want to thank this community. My other role at the Health Sciences Center is a family physician in the Department of Family Medicine. And because of your sweat equity and your ideas that this community, the Lubbock community and surrounding community, has given back to this community, you've come up with ideas like creating mask covers that go over our masks so that our limited supply of masks lasts even longer. You've come up with ideas to help sterilize masks in a number of different ways so our masks will last longer. The other thing, just another thing that you've come up with, you've created engineered ideas for parts for ventilators to make one ventilator work up to 4 people if needed. Let's hope we don't go there. I want to thank this community for your sweat equity, your ingenuity, and your contribution back to our side of the fence in the healthcare community. I want you to know that we in the healthcare community are not afraid. We're not afraid. This is our calling. We are worried. We are concerned. We are worried about getting tired and concerned because our days are going to be long, but this is our calling. This is our calling to take care of people. This is what we are called to do. This is what we want to do. What we need to do, what we need from you are 2 things. One of those is trust. Trust in us to take care of your family as if we were taking care of my own son, my own wife, my own mother. We will take care of your family just as if you were my family. And in West Texas, you are our family. The other thing that you need to do for us is stay home. You need to stay home. You need to be healthy and not give any virus to anybody else. We are going to have our hands full. Hopefully by doing these measures of staying home, staying away from people, it will help us. That's your job to do that. We have to go to work because we want to, and we want to take care of your family because we want to whip this disease. That's all that I have. Thank you for what you've done so far.
Good evening. I'm so thankful for Catherine Wells and Dr. Ron Cook. I want to spend a few moments this evening updating you on the coronavirus situation in Lubbock and advising you of some new actions that we are taking. Let me first thank you for taking this virus situation seriously. It's very difficult for us to change our habits. We're accustomed to doing what we want to do, how we want to do, and when we want to do it. It's one of the great things about being an American. But we're learning to worship online, to enjoy food and drink from our local restaurants via delivery or curbside pickup. We found better ways to work from home. We're enjoying virtual family meetings. Many of you have shared how you're spending family time playing board games or cards or watching old movies. The confirmed cases in Lubbock have grown more than 2.5 times since Thursday. These numbers have grown as our investigations into confirmed cases have found a number of their family, friends, and coworkers who, after testing, are also confirmed to have the coronavirus. Please listen closely. Many of these newly confirmed cases from our investigations were found in people who were asymptomatic, That means they were not feeling bad. They're what the medical professionals call healthy carriers. They were going about their lives, feeling fine, but unknowingly exposing people they came in contact with on a daily basis. The best way to limit the spread in Lubbock is to stay at home. If you must leave your home, it's critical that you practice social distancing. With this background, and after consulting with city leadership, the leadership of our hospitals, and most important, under the direct advice of Dr. Ron Cook, our public health authority, and Catherine Wells, our director of public health, I am issuing a stay-at-home order effective at midnight tonight. This order will remain in effect until Friday midnight. That's this Friday, April the 3rd. I expect our city council to have an emergency meeting later this week to discuss this order and any other future needed actions. So what does this mean? If you do not work for an essential business, please don't leave your home other than to go to the grocery store, to see a healthcare provider, to pick up food from restaurants. And by the way, I strongly encourage you to use delivery. If it's critical, you can leave home to take care of pets or to take care of people who rely on you for their well-being. You also can leave home to buy critical supplies to maintain your household. This order prohibits public or private gatherings of any size outside one single household. Further, through this order, we're requiring people who are sick or experiencing COVID-19 symptoms or who have tested positive for COVID-19 to stay home other than for necessary medical or emergency care. The key word there was requiring. Finally, there are to be no visitors to nursing homes, retirement homes, or long-term care facilities unless it is to provide critical care. Essential businesses will continue to operate as described under our previous order. No changes. There have been a number of questions about essential businesses. Simply put, these are our first responders, healthcare workers, and people who work to supply our food, from production to delivery and stocking on the shelves of the stores that we count on. People who work in financial institutions, provide for the electrical grid, water supply, and pick up our waste are also essential, as are our construction workers and the people who supply them. There's no change under this order to retail stores that are open today. I had an opportunity yesterday to tour a number of our grocery stores, big box stores, and home improvement retailers. I was impressed by their actions. These businesses have embraced the seriousness of the situation. You heard Catherine talking earlier about the directive we offered or ordered or sent out from her office just this afternoon that includes best practices for these stores. This afternoon, President Trump ordered new guidance to Americans about social distancing. Also today, Governor Abbott significantly tightened travel restrictions to Texas, among other actions. Both the president and the governor have repeatedly called on local leaders to make decisions that they feel best and the ones that are needed to protect their communities and citizens. Our decision, was made considering that guidance and, most importantly, with the safety of every Lubbock citizen in mind. Even though we are all hurting, there is some good news. Our hospitals remain strong. They're ready to handle what may face them. They're working together. We're in near constant contact with them. I'm thankful for both UMC and Covenant. We often brag about our healthcare. Times like this prove that we're not telling stories. The work to feed the children and our senior citizens is remarkable. Our school districts, the South Plains Food Bank, Meals on Wheels, and our other social service agencies have been remarkable. On Friday, we announced a region-wide effort to raise funds to address the immediate needs of individuals, families, and nonprofits serving them. This South Plains COVID-19 Response Fund already has raised more than $1 million of support. If you'd like to participate in this effort, please go to cfwtx.salsalabs.org. That's once again, cfwtx.salsalabs.org. Congress and the President have taken significant action to provide aid for individuals, families, our businesses, hospitals, and many others. This action is both unprecedented and vital. Our path to a healthy recovery for individuals, families, and businesses is top of mind for me and your leaders. We were strong going into this crisis. Because of this, I believe we are best positioned to recover quickly. Like you, I look forward to a return to normal. Days when our places of worship are open and full. When we can hear the ringing of retail cash registers. When we can break bread in our favorite restaurants. When we can cheer on our favorite teams in ballparks and stadiums. We can get there together. From my heart, I'm asking each of you to stay home and to practice social distancing. Please take this situation seriously. I believe it's a great day in Lubbock, Texas, because we stand together. We will persevere together. Please be safe, be kind, and be hopeful. I pray that God may continue to shine his bright light on the great people of Lubbock, Texas. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to open it up for questions. I'll ask y'all to ask one at a time. We have a question right now. Okay, you can put it down into the question and answer. I know we had one from Christy. Let me get to you, Christy, and I'll get you in there. Okay. Okay, Christy.
Hi, we had a really good question from J.R. Gastia, who's one of our Facebook followers, and his question is, should all businesses that are essential have thermometers at their places of business? Able to hear that?
Yes, I think it's most appropriate for Dr. Cook to answer that question. Ron?
Sure, thank you. Sure, I think anybody, it's not hard to take somebody's temperature either orally or whatever method you have. If you've already got thermometers now, I know that many healthcare systems and entities are already screening all of their employees. So trying to find thermometers is a bit scarce, like any other personal protective equipment. There are medical grade infrared guns that you can use that are non-contact, which would be best. Many of the HVAC units, heating and air conditioning units, companies have those. They're not medical grade, so they have to be calibrated. But if you already have a thermometer that you're willing to let your place of business use for that, then sure. And the magic temperature there is 100.4 or 100 degrees, 0.4 degrees is considered a fever. It's starting to get warm outside, so if you sat in your warm car and then decide to have your temperature taken, you might have an elevated temp, and that doesn't mean anything. So you need to be careful about the environment that you're in when you take your temperature.
Okay, we have some more questions that are coming in, and I will ask these because they're in the Q&A. This is from KCBD. This is for Dr. Cook. How many people are hospitalized, and of those, how many are critical?
I don't have that exact number off the top of my head. I didn't get that update today. There are at least a couple that I'm aware of. I'm not sure exactly. I can't give you an exact number on that today.
Okay.
Lacey, can I add to that, please?
Yes, absolutely.
Statewide, as we've talked about throughout this this situation, I think statewide there are a little more than 2,500 confirmed cases, and just a few more than 200 of those are in the hospital. About 1 in 10 of the confirmed cases statewide are in a hospital. And I would say that we're getting close to the point where we have enough cases that something like that would be accurate for us too.
I want to reiterate that the questions that we're answering are from media members only. This question comes from KMAC and KLBK. How is the city going to enforce this?
We will continue to work with our fire marshal's office. We frankly had remarkable compliance. I think we expect that to continue. In fact, we expect it to get better. I think the biggest challenge we have had is because we've had such great weather that we find people in the parks where they forget their social distancing, and we have groups of people together, or neighbors that are outside late in the afternoon, and we just have to really be conscious of that. That goes against what we are really expecting and asking everyone to do. But don't expect this to become a police effort. We expect our citizens to do what is right, and we think they're going to do that.
Can we get an update on the health of the other cases from the Lubbock AJ?
Catherine, you want to talk to that?
Yeah, if they're asking about individuals who we're now considering recovered and released from their quarantine, we have about 8 individuals as of today that have been released.
Okay. Okay, this is from KMAC, KLBK. Will city parks be shut down?
No. City parks will still be open. Our golf courses are open. We expect that you'll take every bit of caution specific to social distancing. But no, we want people outside. We think as long as you social distance, that's a great place to be. Okay.
Okay. We have a question from Karen McKay at KCBD. Karen?
Dr. Cook, how many people are on ventilators, if there are any here so far like that?
Karen, I don't know of any currently that are on ventilators at either hospital. But Karen, as I mentioned before, I haven't got an update today from the hospitals.
Okay, we have another question. If many of these new cases are asymptomatic and there are requirements to get tested because of the limited number of tests, how were you able to test these people?
Catherine,
The
would you
ones that were
explain?
asymptomatic,
Yeah, go ahead, please, Ron.
the ones that are in these nursing homes where we've had the outbreak, we urgently needed to test individuals so we can divide inside the nursing home a sick side and a well side. And so we needed to make sure that the individuals taking care of either side is not infected. And so that's the reason there. If we had enough testing kits where we could open it up to everybody, that would be best. We just don't. Right now, we're using the testing kits if you're symptomatic and when it makes a significant decision tree in deciding who's going to take care of somebody or how to isolate somebody who's ill and not potentially carrying the virus.
And I will add that these are also people with a known exposure and a very high risk. And that allows us to do that additional testing. And it was done through the public health department with some support of our community. UMC let us help volunteer some nurses to assist with that.
But I would add to that the reason social distancing and staying at home is so important is because we cannot test everyone. In the last, I guess, 8 or 9 days now since UMC has been testing, they've had literally thousands of people come to the line. They've tested just under 900 people have actually been tested. Of those, you know our numbers, but of those, even less than 10% of those were tested positive.
Okay, we have 5 questions. So we'll answer those and then we will close it off for the night. Can you confirm the official case count? Catherine mentioned 10 new ones at the start, which would be 51, but Dr. Cook said 49.
It's critical that you practice social.
I'll go with Catherine's count.
Yeah. It's 51 as of today.
Okay. The Daily Toreador asked, what conditions would allow for the stay-at-home order to be extended?
I think we want to see testing results this week. We want to understand what President Trump and Governor Abbott are going to do this week. We will do that next. I think we'll make those decisions in a city council meeting later this week. I think one of the things we're going to look for is the number of cases to start leveling off. I think that's something that Dr. Cook has talked about. He might want to elaborate a little bit more on that.
No, Mayor Pope, I agree wholeheartedly. The whole purpose in doing is to slow this down. And our current rate of increase in numbers every day is certainly worrisome. And so if we see this slow down over the next several days, then that means it's working.
This is from KMAC KLBK. Mayor Pope mentioned businesses that were open today can stay open. What did you mean?
I talked about essential businesses. There's no change to essential businesses. The ones that were open today, that were open under our previous order, will remain open.
Okay. If parks remain open, how is the order different from what we have now?
I called out the 4 main reasons. First, it requires people to stay home, unless you're going out for food, the doctor, the things that I listed off. We have now the stronger requirement about if you're sick, you feel sick, or you've been tested, you have to stay home under requirement of this order. It includes
the things that I listed on.
it includes the language about groups of 10 going away and no groups outside your home. And then there was one other final. I'll add that here in a minute. Those are the main changes. It is a stay home order. If you listen to my comments throughout the week, and particularly as people ask, well, why don't we put a stay home or stay in place? We were very clear in saying that the order that we had in place was very similar to that. I think you see that tonight by where we are.
Okay. And final question, are licensed home daycares still allowed to operate?
Yes, that's a great question, and I appreciate it being answered. So licensed daycare are open. We have some special daycares starting tomorrow that LISD is working in conjunction with our hospitals. The child care, for instance, if your mother takes care of your kids and has been taking care of your kids, and they're used to being in the same environment and can practice social distancing, then you need, and you're working in an essential job, you need to continue to follow that practice. We're thankful for our daycare and our daycare workers. They allow our first responders, our medical professionals, the people who provide our food supply to continue to work for all of us.
Okay, that's it for the questions. Thank you all for joining us while we work out the kinks of this new virtual reality. I'll be sending out the documents tonight, right after this press conference, and we will have those on our website right after this news conference as well. And in the meantime, please check the official City of Lubbock social media sites for all the latest news. Thank you all.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.